Hello everyone. So today we are going to have a session on the analysis of section B. We will give you a detailed solution for all the questions which has been asked in the sample paper which has been issued by CBSE board for the year 2023-24. So first let us discuss what is there in the section. So in this section we are going to have subjective questions and it comprises of 5 questions of 2 marks each. An internal choice is given in 2 questions, right? So you have to attempt any one of those 2 questions, right? So let's move on with the first question. Now the first question, as you can see on the screen, is at what rate of interest will the present value of perpetuity of rupees 1500 payable at the end of every 6 months be rupees 20,000? So this is a question which is based on financial maths unit and it's a formula based questions, right? So we have to use the formula of perpetuity in this. So what's the formula of perpetuity? For the formula of perpetuity, we have P is equal to R upon I, where P is the total amount and R is the amount that you are depositing every month, every year, quarterly, semi-annually. So in this questions, we are paying it at the end of every 6 months. How many rupees? 1500. So our R will be 1500. Total amount that we are getting is 20,000 rupees. Right? Now, what is I? I, as we all know, is rate of interest. Now, here it is 6 months. So, it will be R by 200. This is very important because it is semi-annually. So, it will be 200, not 100. Right? So, now we have to simply substitute these values to calculate the value of R. So, if I substitute the values, what will I get? I will get 20,000 is equal to 1500 upon R by 200. So R will be nothing but 1500 into 200 upon 20,000. Right? So now very simple calculations. If we cancel the zeros and 2, so we get R as 15%. So it's a simple question which is based. So you will have the marks for formula as well in this, and you will have the marks for calculating the value of I, that is R by 200. So be careful with that. That steps are important being a subjective question. Right? Now let's move on to the next question. Now in this question, internal choice is given to you. That is, out of the 2 questions, you have to attempt any one. As we all can see, it is based on matrix. So both the questions are from matrix, right? So you have to attempt any one of them. So if A is a square matrix such that A square is equal to PA, we have to find the value of E, right? So now this is the first question. Now we have to calculate for this first question A square first, right? So A square, that is we have to multiply A with A matrix, right? So we have to use the rule of multiplication here. So first row will be multiplied with first column and the corresponding elements will be added. So what will you get? 2 2s are 4 and then here we get minus 2 is again 4. So 4 plus 4 will be the first element. Then first row with the second column. So what will you get here? Minus 4, minus 4. Same way, we will be moving on with the second row. Second row with first column. So minus 4, and then you get 4 plus 4. So what will be the answer? 8, minus 8, and 8. Right? So this is A square. Now we have to compare it with PA. So if I compare it with PA, what will I get? I'll get the value for P. So P. Now equality of matrix concept has to be applied simply. So what will be the value of P? So the value of P will be 4 simply, right? If I take P as 4, it will be equal to 8 minus 8 and 8. So that will be the concept of equality of matrices. Right? Now we come to the second internal choice question. That's again a very easy concept based on skew symmetric matrix. Now first of all, what is the meaning of the term skew symmetric matrix? So skew symmetric matrix is the matrix in which the matrix is equal to negative of its transpose, right? I repeat, a matrix is equal to negative of its transpose. And what is the condition on the diagonal elements? Diagonal elements are compulsory to be 0. These are the two important conditions associated with skew symmetric matrix. So if I simply write the conditions are Aij is equal to minus Aji. This is a very simple way to solve it. We can directly see that Aij should be equal to minus Aji, because in that condition the matrix will be equal to negative of its transpose, right? And diagonal elements compulsory 0. Now if we just check, B is diagonal element. So the value of B will be what? 0. Right? Now what will be the value of A? The position of A is equal to what? A12. It will be equal to what? Minus A21. So what will be the value of A? A will be equal to minus 2, because A21 is 2. Now what will be C? The position of C is A31. It is A31, third row and first column. So A31 will be equal to what? Minus A13. Now what is the value at A13 element? That is 3. So what will be the value of C? Minus 3. Now what we have to find? We have to find the sum of A plus B plus C. Now the sum of A plus B plus C will be what? Minus 2 plus 0 plus minus 3. So what will be the answer? The answer will be minus 5. It is very important to write the condition for skew symmetric matrix. Again, it will hold the mark. So it will be half mark for the condition, half of mark for calculating the values and then adding up. Right? So in this way, 2 marks will be distributed. Right? So you can attempt any one of the two. Right? It will be easy to solve the next one because it will take less time to solve. Right? Now let's move on to the next. Now this is a question which is based on LPP, right? A cooperative society of farmers has 10 hectares of land to grow two crops, A and B. To control weeds, pesticide has to be used for crops A and B at the rate of 30 grams and 15 grams per hectare. Further, no more than 750 grams of pesticide should be used. The profit from crops A and B per hectare are estimated to be rupees 8,000 and rupees 9,500. Formulate the above problem as LPP in order to allocate land to each crop for maximum use. Now, we have to simply formulate. Please note this word, formulate. We don't have to draw the graph. It's a 2 mark question. We have to just formulate the LPP. Word problem has to be converted into maximize function, subject to constraints. So we have to write under these headings. Now, first of all, the most important step will be the let statement. That is, what are we going to take the variables? So here the important part is to take the variables. Now let us take x and y. Correct? Let us take x and y. So what will be x and what will be y? So the for x we are taking it for crop A, correct? And for y we are taking it for crop B. So it will be x and y hectares of land for crop A and crop B. This is important. Again, half mark will be there for the let statement. Now we have to formulate objective function. So your objective function will be what? The profit from crops A and B per hectare are estimated to be rupees 8,000 and 9,500, and we have to make the problem for maximum use. So maximum use if we have to do, so we need maximum, right? So the objective will be Z max. Correct? So we have to solve for maximum. So the objective function will be 8,000 x plus 9,500 into y, right? So we will multiply it with x and y. Now subject to constraints. Now, subject to constant means what are the restrictions that we have, what are the given constraints under which we have to work. So, the first line gives one condition, that is, a cooperative society of farmers has 10 hectares of land to grow. Only 10 hectares, not more than that. So, total land that is available to us for both the crops is either less than or equal to 10. This is the constant for land to grow the crops A and B. So x plus y is less than equal to 10. Now what is the next condition? That is, to control the weeds, pesticides has to be used for crops A and B at the rate of 30 grams and 15 grams per hectare. No more than 750 grams of pesticide should be used. We cannot use more than 750 grams of pesticide. Only less than that has to be used. So if we are using for crop A, so 30x plus 15y, and the sum of the total pesticides should be used should be less than or equal to 750 grams, right? So this is for pesticide. We can simplify this also. So if we take 15 common, we get 2x plus y is less than equal to 50. This is our second condition. And what are our non-negative restrictions? X is greater than equal to 0, y is greater than equal to 0. These are non-negative restrictions. Please note down that non-negative restrictions again carry marks. Do not forget to write it, because x and y, it is the hectare of land, so that can never be less than 0. It's a numeric value, right? We cannot have the hectares of land for the crop A and B in negative, so it has to be greater than equal to 0. So this is very very important to write. No graph to be drawn, only formulate. Please note the word formulate, right? So we have simple question, it's full scoring, 2 marks. Just note down the steps properly. Let's move on to the next, which is based on numerical applications. Both the questions are from numerical applications, but different subtopics. That is, the first one is from boards and stream, and the second question is from races and games. Right? So let's take the first question, which is on boards and streams. Correct? So now, what do we have? A boatman takes twice as long as to go upstream to a point as to return downstream to the starting point. The speed of the boat in still water is 15 km per hour. What is the speed of the stream? I repeat, what is the speed of the stream? So we have to find the speed of the stream, right? Now for the speed of the stream, we are given the ratio of the time. So time for going upstream is twice as for the time to go downstream. So if I simply write the time for the upstream and the downstream ratio. So time for upstream and time for downstream. What's the ratio? 2 is to 1. So as we all know that the ratio for the speed is inversely proportional to the ratio of the time. That's very important concept. So now what we will get the ratio? We will get that speed of downstream upon speed of upstream. The ratio will be reversed because speed is distance upon time. So speed into time is distance, and the same distance has to be covered for downstream and upstream. Or you can say if our speed is more, we take less time to cover the same distance. Right? So it's inversely proportional. Now, what will be the speed of the stream? That is our question. So let's take let statement. So let speed of stream be y. Okay. Now what will be the downstream speed? Speed of boat in still water is given 15. So what will be our downstream speed? That is 15 plus y. What will be our upstream speed? That is 15 minus y. Now it's a simple question which is based on linear equation. You can simply cross multiply it and get the equation. right? So what will you get now? 3y is equal to 15. So y is 5 kilometer per hour. This is your final answer. So just very important concept, that is speed and time are inversely proportional. It has to be written. Let statement has to be written. Then speed of downstream, speed of upstream has to be calculated. And then we can calculate the value of speed of the stream. It's not lengthy question, just 3 to 4 steps. Now, similarly, we have the next question on races and games. So we have to attempt any one, right? So now for races and games, what do we have? A can run 40 meters while B runs 50 meters in the same time. This is very important here, in the same time, because that makes the question simpler. So in a 1,000-meter race, find by how much distance B beats A. Now just remember, B is covering 50 meters and A is running 40 meters in the same time. So what is the ratio of their distance being covered? Right? So distance covered by B upon distance covered by A. Right? So what do you have? 50 and 40. So B is covering 50 meters and A is covering 40 meters in the same time, right? So we can simply say 5 by 4. Correct? Now the race is for 1,000 meters. Correct? So if we just simply use the concept of ratio and proportion, what will you get? You will get 5 by 4 is equal to, right? So if B is covering 1,000 meters, we can write here by ratio and proportion. That will be equal to the distance covered by A, right? So what is X? X is the distance covered by A. Now, if we solve it, we can find the final answer, right? So what will be X? X will be 4 into 1,000 upon 5, right? So what will you get? 200 here, and 200 into 4 is 800. So X covers 800 meters. Now final answer. Final answer is by how much distance B beats A. So that is our final answer. So what will be that answer? 200 meters. Right? You cannot leave your answer here at 800. Half mark will be for the final answer. So B beats A by 200 meters. That should be the concluding statement, and that always carry a mark, right? So B beats A by 200 meters. So both the questions are easy and they are from the first unit. You can attempt any one of them, right? Now let's move to the next Now, this is the last question for the section. That is, we have inferential statistics. What do we have? Inferential statistics. Now, inferential statistics, this question is based on t-test, right? You all know one sample t-test, right? So it's a formula based question. One sample t-test, you have to simply apply the condition of rejection or not rejection, right? So first we have to make the hypothesis. Do not forget to make the hypothesis first. That is null hypothesis and alternate hypothesis. That's very important. Again, it carries a marks. Though we have to simply denote what is the rejection rule, but before that, we have to make the hypothesis. So now, what is given to you? A machine produces washers of thickness 0.50 mm. To determine whether the machine is in proper working order, a sample of 10 washers is chosen for which the mean thickness is 0.53 mm and the standard deviation is 0.03 mm. Test the hypothesis at 5% level of significance that the machine is working in proper order. So now let's like the initials first. What is given to you? You are given mu, that is population mean, which we say. So machine produces washers of thickness 0.50 mm. So what is our population mean? 0.50 mm, and that will be very important for us because that will help us to make the null hypothesis. Now, what is the sample size given to you? The sample size given to us is 10 washers are chosen, for which the mean thickness is 0.53 mm. So that is your x bar, right? That is sample mean. Now, standard deviation is given 0.03 mm. These values are needed for null hypothesis as well as for t-test also, right? Now, let's make the hypothesis first. So, null hypothesis will be what? That is machine produces washers of thickness 0.50 mm. Correct? So now your mu is equal to 0.50. That will be our null hypothesis. What will be our alternate hypothesis? Alternate hypothesis will be mu is not equal to 0.50 because they have not given anything that we have to calculate for less than or greater than, correct? But they have just said कि अगर हमने sample, if we have taken for 10 washes, then the mean is 0.53 mm, right? And standard deviation is given 0.03 mm. Now we have to come to t-test formula, right? So this is t. What is the formula? X bar minus mu upon S upon root n minus 1. Right? So here we are using root n minus 1. So now what we will get? We will get, let's substitute the values, 0.53 minus 0.50 upon 0.03 upon root 10 minus 1. Now what will be the degree of freedom? Degree of freedom will be n minus 1, which is 10 minus 1, that is 9. Now we are going to apply two-tailed test here. That's why we are using formula for n minus 1, not n, right? Now why two-tailed test? Because the value is given to us as t at 0.025, correct? And 5% level of significance is there. So two-tailed test. So we use two-tailed test here. Right? Now, what is our calculated value? So, what will you get? Root 10 minus 1 is root 9, which is 3. 0.53 minus 0.50 is 0.03. So, 0.03 upon 0.03 into 3. So, that gives you a simple calculation 3. Now, T calculated, the one which we have calculated above, and t which is given to you at 0.025. If we compare the both, the value that we are getting is greater than the given value of from the table. So now t calculated is coming greater than t at 0.025. That is 3 is greater than 2.262. Now if T calculated is greater than T alpha, then what is the condition? Then we say that the machine is not working in proper order. That is, we reject. That is, we are going to reject it. So, we reject null hypothesis. Correct? And what will be our concluding statement? That machine is not working properly. It's very important to write because they have asked you test the hypothesis at 5% level of significance that the machine is working in proper order. So it means machine is not working in proper order, right? So proper steps, formula always carry a mark. Remember, null hypothesis always carry a mark, and then our concluding statement carries a mark. So half mark for null hypothesis, half mark for the formula, half mark for the comparison, and half mark will be for your final answer, right? So I hope you all have understood it. Okay, thank you everyone.